So it was very easy for me to abuse the feelings I had for him because I couldn't identify it. So I learned how to absorb the affection that I'm feeling towards someone, but not reciprocate it immediately. But I learned how to identify and be like, who is this person in my life? What is the purpose of this person in my life? We are getting to know one another. For what reason? And if you had been able to define that emotion quickly or define the purpose and the reason why that person was in your life, you will not have wasted so much time investing boyfriend or girlfriend privileges in someone that is just a friend. You guys are more bold today, but back in the day, you hide in the corners. You don't come straight. It's so good to be here with you guys again. How are you doing today? My name is Olabisi, and this is Life Unscripted with Olabisi. On today's episode, I want to talk about something that sometimes we really don't know. You understand me? Until you know. So today is the day to know. What am I talking about? Not be every time everything will be romance. Do you understand? Sometimes it go be friendship. Only friendship. As usual, I have a story to tell. So I was in high school, fresh into this new school. I saw this guy. Hey, talk about, well, he wasn't so tall, but he was dark and he was handsome. Just the way I like it. You know, that caramel chocolate. And so, Valentine is coming. And we decided that we wanted to give secret admirer gifts. It was a thing back in our day. You guys are more bold today, but back in the day, you hide in the corners. You don't come straight. So I bought him biscuits and I bought him a card and I wrote it and I sent it to him. And I was in the science lab with my classmate and friend, and one loud dude from his class just burst into the science lab and waved the card in my face. I was like, what sort of rubbish is this? Threw the card in my face and said, everybody in the class ate your biscuit and we laughed at you. Ha. Hey. I did not come out of that science lab for the rest of the day. In fact, everybody had gone home before I got out of that lab. My teachers begged me. I said, I am not coming out of this lab. The ground should just open up and swallow me whole. I went into, because I was in the hostel, I got into my room. I just covered myself and I cried. I was like, how am I going to go to school the next day? But I have to go to school now. Is it romance that my daddy sent me to come and do in school? Anyway, a few terms later, this gentleman, this young guy, finds the courage to walk up to me and tell me that, listen, that, you know, they were just goofing around and they recognized my handwriting and blah, 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 that he didn't mean for me to go through all I went through. And I looked at him, I said, you know what? I don't have any feelings for you anymore. He's like, I had. But I knew that it was impossible for me to be that guy's anything else. I said, can we be friends? And guess what? We have been friends ever since. So it's not every time romance. What I have learned from that, because that was a very painful experience. I mean, people made fun of me for terms. And I was a new girl. So it solidified my dorky, quirky nature in school. And I was the butt joke for weeks. In fact, some of my teachers who became my friends were putting out like a PSA that if they hear this gist again, they will punish whatever student was going to do it. It foiled the gist. Anything to clear or repair my image was not working. I just had to go through the embarrassment. At least I'm better off today. One thing I learned from that experience, though, is not every person you meet that you like you have to date. In fact, it's not every person you meet that you have to date. Sometimes you meet people and the attraction you have towards them is for a different purpose. Miles Monroe would always say that when the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. So it was very easy for me to abuse the feelings I had for him because I couldn't identify it. So I learned how to absorb the affection that I'm feeling towards someone, but not reciprocate it immediately. But I learned how to identify and be like, who is this person in my life? What is the purpose of this person in my life? We are getting to know one another. For what reason? And this would also help you not to jump to conclusions when people walk into your life and they take up space. It also helped me to know how to curb canopy tent makers. Let me explain a canopy tent maker to you. Someone that comes into your life, takes up your space, is like a best friend to you, but is just a friend. They take up your heart, they take up your time, they take up your resources, but they are just friends. And then when you now expect them to reciprocate the love, they'll be like, but I said I'm just a friend. So could it be that the attraction you were feeling towards that person was not for you to date them, but for you to just be friends with them? And if you had been able to define that emotion quickly or define the purpose and the reason why that person was in your life, you would not have wasted so much time investing boyfriend or girlfriend privileges in someone that is just a friend. So, what is the moral of my story? Sometimes you have to learn the hard way, but you don't have to learn everything by your own experience. It is good for you to hear my story and the embarrassment I had in high school, for you to know that when you meet someone for the first time, you know that feeling, that thing, just drag you, just rush you. As it's rushing you, just tell Holy Spirit, Lord, I make Jesus the Lord of this rushing feeling right now, because I know my human nature. I can go and misyan, mistalk, misdo, misgive, misopen. So I give you this feeling that I'm having right now, and I give you influence and access to do with it whatever you will. I have been saved from a lot of wrong relationships. I have been saved from a lot of almost relationships because I made Jesus the Lord of how I felt. And it is okay for you to have feelings for people. Honestly speaking, you go see person now. Now God creates this one. See as this guy clean, in voice, clean, dressing, set. But it's not your guy. And it's not your guy. Or she's not your girl. And sometimes those feelings are just, I believe that sometimes those feelings come because you have put out a thought in the atmosphere that you are feeling a little bit lonely and you need attention. And it would always happen. Why? Because as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So I want you to learn something today, right? That you see all those near relationship, and I gave this girl my time and we talked about everything. There was nothing we did not talk about. I talked to my best friends about everything. There is nothing we don't talk about, but I don't date them. So you have to learn to accept affection. Receive it. It is good. Receive affection. It's not bad. It's okay for people to tell you that I love you, and it is a platonic love. It is okay for a guy to look at you in the face and say, Olabisi, I really love you. And I'd be like, guy, I love you too. But it's platonic. Why? Because there's genuine affection one to another. I don't have to date him. In fact, I'll be extremely happy for whoever it is he dates and gets married to. Why? Because I am not in that space with him. And I am not going to force myself on anyone either. Loving myself means that I choose what I want. And making Jesus the Lord of all means that I give God the influence to interfere with relationships that he knows will ultimately hurt me in future. I don't have to learn everything by my own experience. Sometimes it's just by leaning on the arms of the Father and allowing him to direct my path that makes my days and my evenings easier. I'm not crying over somebody that didn't call me. I'm not angry because they didn't return my text. Then I now call them 200 times and become a social media stalker. Come on now. I now do FBI runs. I mean, all those kind of things they're just not needed. So, from the little girl me to the big girl me, I shouldn't have sent that gift to the guy. I didn't know anything about him. I put myself in a position to be mocked and bullied by my classmates. And I learned the hard way. So don't do that. When people come into your life, find out the reason why. Even if you enjoy their company. You know, some people are like, we had this thing called Bisco when we were kids. You know Bisco, you just like Bisco, shh, and it will end. Some people's affections are like Bisco. They come in loud and they just end. But what if you had invested a lot of time in those things because you thought that this was the one and you did not take the time to find out? So calm down, my brother, my sister, and find out the truth about them before you make a decision. Okay? So not every time romance, sometimes just friendship. And then you can go on Amala dates. I'll go on pizza dates as a friend and just enjoy the company and the affection that people really care for you. Because people do. So that comes to the end of my episode today. I hope you learned something. I know I did. There were some things I was talking about. I was like, Olamisi, that's true. And that's the beautiful thing about talking, Sha. You learn as you are teaching. Anyway, so don't forget to like, follow, and share. Is it follow, like, and share? All na collabo. Do you understand me? Just do one. And I'm looking at you. I'm waiting to see you follow us on all our social media platforms. But until I come your way again in the next episode, be easy, have a good time, and God bless you.